Hi, my name is Christine Chapman. I'm originally from the Philippines. I grew up in the Philippines. I study a business management in the Philippines. I went to school for 2 years only. I I study and work. I I did not finish my degree because of financial, and it's hard for me to handle myself being a working student because of financial unstable. So I decided to went to Singapore and work, and I work as a caregiver. And my employer went to England, and as a caregiver I came with them. We lived there at least 2 years, and then we're relocated in Australia after 2 years from England. So we lived there at least more than 2 years in Australia, and we went back to Singapore. When we went back to Singapore, we lived there at least more than 2 years. When I finished my contract with them, I decided not to renew, and I decided to move to Hong Kong. So I signed a contract for 4 years at a nursing home in in Hong Kong. So while I was in Hong Kong, I met my husband in in the dating online app, and I was talking to him at least 8 months. And when we was talking at 8 months, around 8 months, we decided to meet each other. And after we met, we decided to get married. And my husband came home here in Oklahoma to ask his parents to marry me. And thanks goodness, her parents say yes. So he went back there again in Hong Kong, and we get married year 2007. And and uh, and after we get married, he did stay there with me at least a few months. And after a few months, he come home here again in Oklahoma and start processing my papers to come over here, because it's a long process and it's very costly. So while I'm there, he is here in Oklahoma. So after a year or so, we decided to go back in the Philippines. Um, while we are waiting, and it's a long journey for us until we find out that we're expecting our baby girl. So our baby girl was born in the Philippines. So until that, we're still waiting a visa. After a few months she was born, at the time my visa come out, and at that time she's almost a year. Um she's almost a year my visa came out. At the time we decided to come home here in Oklahoma. So um it's almost 2 years I was waiting for my visa to come here. It's not that easy. It's a long process, but we got it. We finally got it. And we reunited with our family here in Oklahoma. And and we when we came here, I decided to go to school as as I studied an X-ray technician, and I enjoy it. I like it. Although I get a thick accent. The reason that I have a bad thick accent because I speak different languages, and English is not my mother tongue. I speak five of different languages. Is really hard for me to divert each language. Sometimes, without my knowing, I'm not thinking. Sometimes I is end up on my mouth some other languages that I meant to speak in English. So, five languages is not that easy to pick which one. For example, if I speak with my parents, it's different language. If I speak with my sister that lives in Singapore, I have to speak different languages. If I speak with my other sister that lives in other town in the Philippines, I have to speak different language. So it's a little tricky. So that's the reason I have a bad accent. It doesn't mean that I could not communicate. It's is embarrassing sometimes that I could not able to pronounce correctly or so, but I could. Most people that I talk, they could understand me very well. What do I meant to say? What do I mean to tell them or so? And and now I am currently working at orthopedic surgeon's office. The doctor that I work is he do surgery most of the time. He do shoulder surgery, knee replacement, hip replacement. He do ankle. He do wrist. He do any broken bones. He do all of them, and it's very fascinating for me to see them, and it's very interesting for me, and and it's a different than others. And the reason that I come back to school is my husband is a veteran. His name is John Chapman. He got a really accident when he was in the Air Force, and he can no longer work anymore. And I'm a breadwinner on my family, and at the same time, I my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, they're living with me because they're in 80 plus. So, but yet I am so happy to do that because as a kid or as a daughter, it's my responsibility to take care of them. And I learned that in my culture is always a kid responsibility for their parents when they get old. So I'm so happy and honored to do that for them. And I'm hoping you will know me better. And thank you guys. And God bless you all. Have a good evening.